It's the morning DNA for January 17th, 2022. I'm Aaron Dyson, the man of single black shirt. She is Danae Hughes, the woman of a million distractions. And we're here to find out what this day is made of.
I thought we were getting really close. I thought we were going in close. You're like, we're here to find out what today. Hold on.
Squirrel. Yeah, you have to move. You have to move your microphone out of the way.
I do. I do want to eventually get a new mic mount. That will be fun for me. Which is crazy to say that now at this point in my life that a mic mount was a fun addition to my life.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Guys, I'm getting a new webcam.
That's true. I did. It was funny because I posted to a bunch of us that there was a deal on a webcam, and everybody's like, bought one. I'm like, oh, well, glad I sent that out to everybody. But yeah, no, it is funny the things we get excited about as we get older.
As we get older, or just more obsessed with technology.
Sure. That's not for me. I've always been obsessed with technology, so it's
I have too. Like I always wanted to have the newest computer, the newest laptop, or the newest phone. Some of those things change over time, but then there's stuff that's just really practical. And for somebody who streams now regularly on Mondays and Tuesdays, and then podcasting and the other various things, this microphone setup is getting more and more frustrating because I have to have it exactly where it is because part of it is broken, so it won't actually it won't hold its shape, and it's just kind of been stripped. In fact, there's an entire lug nut and screw that my dad drilled through it just to make sure that it will stay up. And I used to actually put it together with rubber bands, and then all the rubber bands snapped. And I thought, you know what? Eventually, maybe if I don't put the rubber bands back on, it will incentivize me to get a new mount. But that did not happen. It just hangs there.
Was it this show where my mic fell off? Where it fell, I had to catch it. I can't remember if it was a podcast recording or a show or live show or whatever.
That's happened so many times.
I mean, sure, yeah. But that was the final straw for me. Yeah. It was to do some more research, see if because when we got these microphones in arms, really there's only two options for shock mounts, and one of them is just this thing that covers the whole microphone, and the only way you can put it is horizontally and that kind of thing, and that's kind of the standard. And then, but then, they got this new. I got this new one, and it's working really, really well.
So jealous.
I mean,
I should just order it.
Price, yeah.
The low price of $49.95.
The low price of less than the webcam you just bought.
Yeah, I did buy that webcam. Lolly asks if the new mount will be able to do elastic band music.
No, that's over.
But I could go get a few elastic bands right now and make that possible. So the morning show is still young.
It is.
Danae was almost as large as Aaron when we got close to our cameras. Because when I got close, it looked like I was. Yeah,
that's true.
Proportionally, I'm on this Dungeons and Dragons campaign with some few streaming friends, and somebody creates the artwork for it. And so they created the artwork for my character, who is this really tiny person. And then there's these very giant people in the campaign, and they have a little comparison chart for heights. It is amazing. We need to do that for
us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people that we talk about, so you can just kind of visualize, put little Reese's and Twix. My dog is down at the bottom. Little Iris just keeps growing and growing.
Basically, the distance from Reese's and Twix to Danae is the same distance as Danae to me. It's just like that. So
my Russians it needs work, much work.
Elizabeth says, Russian or accent?
My accent.
Oh, okay,
Elizabeth says, I bought new pillows and I was beyond excited. So I guess this is adulthood. Yeah. No,
you're not lying. My wife and I spent most of our Saturday rearranging our guest rooms now that we have two guest rooms, and we, one of them we're using for a new study office for her. And so we're rearranging stuff from downstairs to upstairs and talking about, okay, what, kind of stuff do we do in the guest room downstairs? And it's why is this fun? I don't understand why this feels so fun.
Yeah. It's a fresh start. I think rearranging furniture is super fun. I talked about it last week when you were in LA. I I rearrange furniture in an odd way, I feel, where it's sort of like visually I have measured. And so then in my imagination, I've moved it around enough times that I think in my mind, I know where it's going to go and what it's going to look like. And so then I start shifting things around. And then some people measure that kind of thing. But no matter how you move your furniture around, I love it because it's like a fresh start. You get to kind of just, it makes your space feel new in a way.
Yep.
So,
yeah. Definitely.
But pillow purchasing becomes important. I've tried out many, many, many pillows as time has gone on. And then I started going to this very like specialized chiropractor, and I asked her about pillow recommendations. And she measured my shoulder and then told me which one to buy on this website. I now it's the only pillow I think I'll ever have. But it was expensive. It was like $100 pillow, which is a really big investment for something that might not go well, you know. But it ended up really helping me because I have my body goes out of alignment so quickly now that I have an alignment pillow. It kind of keeps my head sort of centralized. And this is the stuff that we talk about as we get older. It just sort of like, as we turn our heads at night, these are the conversations we have. Like, guys, my spine. I need to make sure my spine is in alignment.
Wydock says, we recently rearranged our living room to fix sun glare on the television. And when we were done, I was really excited.
I want to do that too.
Yep.
We cod, Y-cod. Whoa! I want to do that too. We have
Wydock.
Yeah, I just never say it the right way, so I might as well just go full on in.
So, yeah,
I want to do that too. We have a glare on our TV, and it's so frustrating. What do we do about it, though? You know, purchase an anti-glare TV for $2,000. That's the answer.
Yeah, rather than just move your living room area.
That's
around.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
Danae, have you heard of Hero Forge? They are a 3D print company that will make your character for you. I have heard of them before, and I would love to do that. I think it'd be so fun to have a little collection of the characters that I have played. Starting with my first one, I think I would go all the way back to the very first character I ever played and describe her and like get her all set up. That would be really cool to have like a little collection. Not that I need any more collections, but since they're miniatures, I'm sure I can find room for them. Question for you, which this could, I guess, be a you question later on. So if you want to save this one for later,
let's
Argan.
go ahead and do this now. And and then we can kind of get into it. Argon's Avatar 1 says, did Aaron have a good time in California? Last time he was pressed for time to talk about it. I had a wonderful time in California. My wife and I went out there for the Critics' Choice Awards that did not happen. But yeah, we ended up doing a lot of fun stuff and climbing mountains and seeing cool museums. And yeah, it was a blast. The weather was great.
Awesome. The weather was great. Welcome to snow.
Yes. Yeah, lots of that.
Oh my gosh. I love your guys' comments. It's nice to hang out with you guys. Hey, Aaron, are you ready to go?
Yeah, let's do it. We're going to do the DNA and U. So the D is the D question. That's Danae's question. The A is the A question. That's the Aaron question. And U is anything you want to ask us. All questions are acceptable. We may not answer every question, but you're certainly free to ask any question you like. And that will be at the end of the show. So hold your U questions for then. Danae, what is your topic today?
My topic today is yes or no. Should you have a backup plan? Not everyone is built the same. Not everyone has backup plans. Some people, like myself, like to just kind of like go in. There are certain situations I am super okay with just flying by the seat of my pants. And then there's other situations where in my brain, I need to have a backup plan. And so I'm learning these situations about myself. And I just thought it'd be kind of a fun question to ask. Like, it's yes or no answer, but then also like, is it for everything? So I'm going to be traveling soon, and I get really anxious when I travel. And I always wonder why. And I think it's because I'm such a don't planner that when you travel, I think like you should have a backup plan. Like, what if everything goes awry? Plus COVID, I haven't traveled since COVID. I have been largely, like truly here in my house for like 80% of the last 2 years. Mm-hmm. I've gone to Nashville, but even then it was very isolated kind of stuff. I really haven't done a ton. I did go to a concert, and that's probably the most people I have seen. And it wasn't a large concert either, because it was on a 2-deck old church at the, what was it called, Aaron? The Ryman? Is that right?
Oh, yeah, the Ryman. Yeah,
the Ryman.
Downtown Nashville. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have been around crowds of people, and I have gone to like the grocery store a few times in 2 years, but this is me getting on a plane, going into the city, and I think I'm a little bit pandemic nervousness jitters is part of it. And also like, what happens if I get sick and then all of a sudden I can't fly or I can't, like, I have to have backup plans. And so my brain went into overdrive a little bit and maybe this is why I kind of forced myself to go and fly by the seat of my pants, is because then my crazy kicks in and I can't calm down. So I'm kind of trying to partner with people who are calmer than me. Like, do you have a plan? Okay, you have a plan. All right, then I don't have to have a plan, because when Danae plans, Danae over plans. So
sure.
And Aaron's experienced the Danae that travels and gets stressed. So
yes, yeah, travel is a worry for you. What do you think my answer to this question is, Danae? What do you think my answer is?
I think your answer is no. I think
my
you
answer
have
is no.
I think you have a plan. You've thought about it, and then you've taught me how to not panic during travel, specifically where it's like, well, we have smartphones, we have debit cards. We don't have to have the same backup plans as our parents did, where we have to have traveler's checks and a second backup reservation for a vehicle and all the stuff that they would have to do. And go to like AAA and get the travel kit printout that you flipped page to page to show you where you were on your route and make sure that you had all the stuff in the car. Like, we can like literally order something from Amazon, have it delivered to a hotel the next day. So a backup plan is pretty much just, we'll figure it out. So yeah, I've learned how to calm down from you.
Well, I think there is a level of certainty that you have to assess in what you're doing before you answer this question. Like, if you're going, for instance, I fly standby a lot because my mom worked for Delta, and so I get like...
Here we go. We're going to be okay, Chad. We're going to be okay.
Sorry, I'm triggering today. It's so interesting to me because you're so in the moment that it's...
But not when it comes to travel.
I know. Travel is definitely a trigger for you. So anyhow, yes, with my mom working for Delta and having benefits from Delta as her son, I get, I can fly across the country for like, $30 or whatever. But the caveat is you fly standby. And that means anybody who's bought a ticket gets on before you. Anybody who has been shifted from another plane gets on before you.
And you're just watching all the people load on, and you don't know if you're going to get to fly or if you're going to be stuck at the airport. Sorry.
So I bring this up to say the level of certainty when I travel is different than if you've bought a ticket on an airplane. Now, these days, that level of certainty has decreased a little bit as well, with cancellations and those kind of things. But for me, we do talk about backup plans because the level of certainty is so much lower. So if I'm planning to go to, let's say Orlando or whatever, and there is a flight that I have to make, I know the next flights that I have to make if I don't make that one, or if I need to switch to go to a different place to get there. Like, there is an understanding and an awareness of what the backup plans are. But in general, no, you're right. I generally say
Super chill.
Yeah, for a backup
Super
plan.
Chill.
Make your plans, and then if something happens, then you get to show your ability to move in the moment, and to adjust. But yeah, there's way too much worry you can borrow. And once you start borrowing worry, there's no end to that. You can just keep borrowing it from... And yeah, you just keep getting into worry debt. So yeah.
Worry debt. Then you have to do the debt payoff plan. You know, with your worriness. Breezy asked, Danae, does this fear go back to the first time that you flew alone as a teenager and you missed your flight? Maybe. You know, maybe there could be something there. I'm not going to say no because I haven't really dug into it. That was pretty freaking scary, although it ended up being fine.
And that's the thing to remember. It does end up being fine.
It does end up being fine. Everything is fine. I think it actually goes back further than that, Mom. And I think it's your fault entirely.
Let's get into this. Let's do some real therapy with Mom in the room. Let's go for it.
Let's do therapy with Mom in the room when she can't even like quickly defend herself. She's just in a text chat form.
Yeah.
No, I think for me, anytime it was travel or going somewhere, there was always this pressure, and this doesn't come from you, Mom. This comes from my brain and maybe just evaluating my life circumstances. Like when it was to the car to go to church, or when it was to this to go there was always this like sense of urgency and panic. And so that's why I like to stay in my house. But no, I've worked for a long time at kind of identifying like, why do I get stressed when I do certain things, and travel is a big one because there's so many things to think about. And my brain goes into all these different possibilities, and every possibility has another branching possibility.
Yep.
So then I just exhaust myself.
Yeah, you do.
So learning from Aaron has been really helpful, actually.
So I love what Lolly says. This is where I was going to go next as well. Lolly says, you maybe don't need a backup plan so much as reassurance that your plan is okay. Have a checklist with you. Lists are soothing.
Lists are soothing.
I would sum it up like this. I am not for having a backup plan. I'm for planning ahead. I'm for the idea that like if you're traveling or something like that, you should have those things set 3 months, 4 months out. Know what your plan is. In that way, you understand, what things are happening. So, and this may be coming from a very personal place right now, as there are plans that we're trying to make down the road. So, yeah.
So, Aaron, when our friend Ian was in town, we had a list of things to do, and it was great because we're kind of like when we hit a moment and it's like, we're going to go to lunch tomorrow. Where do we want to go? There was a list that we had been creating for months of places that Ian wanted to try when he came to the U.S. That was great. And then we went to a theme park one day when there was like barely anybody there. It was awesome. And Aaron was the guy that had the list. He had been paying attention. He had been like, well, these are all the things we've said we wanted to do. So we're just sitting there like, what's next? Aaron was the one that pulled out his phone, was like, well, technically, according to the list, blah, 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 blah. And I want to say that mine would be like, hey, we have a list. But it was great. While he was making the list, I'm like, dude, you're bumming me out. You're making a list.
Just
I know.
We're just going to go to the park. Yeah.
But in the moment, he's like, well, we could go this way, and that's this way. And according to the map, it's about a 3-minute walk. So if we get started now, da-da-da-da-da. And, it worked out super well. I think it's also nice to look for a group of people, like, to lean on other things. Lists are a really soothing thing. Exactly. But then also friends that can help to diffuse you. Also, Mom, I just want to circle back. I know it's not all your fault. I hope you know I was teasing you.
Yeah. I'm more for planning well, not necessarily making backup plans.
Slab says, my backup plans have backup plans. I have 2 hotels booked for Nashville in April. Yeah. Like, I'm kind of that person who wants to have a backup to a backup. But then my backup plan also has to have a backup plan as well, because then if I don't need that second room, what's that backup plan? In which case, what date do I need to cancel the reservation by and all that stuff? So I don't mind that. I don't mind over planning. And I think that there's a place for all of it.
Well, it depends on what you mean by over planning, right? Like there's 2 kinds. There's planning ahead, and then there's, planning for things that may never happen. Those are 2 different things.
Like, what if a group of people come into the hotel, dressed as animals? I want to be ready for that.
Yes.
So that's why I'm packing my penguin onesie. That's over planning.
Yes. Yeah.
Lolly also adds it depends on how far you're going and your means of travel and all. Yeah, it is all about just knowing your circumstances. Castro says my backup plan is to not to back up my plans. That's good. There you go.
Yeah. Yep.
Professor Lycan, you know the rule about worrying? Ask yourself, can you do something about it? If the answer is yes, then do something about it and don't worry. If the answer is no, then don't worry about it. Ooh. I need to write that down.
That is a
hold on. Let me screenshot this. Got it.
That is that's a different version of the Serenity Prayer, right? Like the idea of help me to know the difference between the things I control and the things I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Just like to look over and be like, can I do something about it? Then do it. Oh, but see, then my brain goes into, but when do I do it? Is it a now thing? Because if the travel is in X amount of months, then do I do it now? But this is where you make a list. See, this is why we talk about these things, guys. Yeah. You are my therapy. Yeah. Mikey says, my knee-jerk answer is no to having a backup plan. But I remembered I work with animals and always have 3 to 5 options for every interaction I have. But isn't that survival? Considering you work with animals that could tear your face off.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, but sometimes backup plans isn't like knowing your exits. Like, like the idea of like walking into a room and being aware of, having that hypervigilance thing. That's different than having a backup plan. That's just part of the plan is, I'm aware of my environment and these kind of things. Yeah.
I'm gonna be options. Okay. Thank you, Pastor. Thank you. Oh, good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, here's one from Jagged. When I was a kid, my family moved to Japan for 5 years, and I grew up going to airports multiple times a year, and having your parents there to do the planning and seeing them react when the plans went awry helped me when I was older and had to do it myself. So when I got stranded in DC on the way home from Texas to Pennsylvania, I was okay. Yeah, well, I'm glad that they had they had a chill approach. I try not to panic until there's blood. And really even then, it doesn't help to panic if someone's bleeding. You have to be calm and make decisions. I really do try not to panic too much.
Yeah.
But inside, I'm ticking through all the things that, I wish I knew more about. Like, where is my luggage?
Yeah, I like to play worst case scenario, except I add the word reasonable in there. I think it's important, worst reasonable case scenario, because obviously you can always think of things that aren't necessarily reasonable. But, at the end of the day, I've spent the night at an airport before. It's not the end of the world. You try to find somewhere semi-comfortable to sleep, and
But your odds of getting sick are so high. And that was before COVID. Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't like going outside of my house.
I do think, this these last few years, I think agoraphobia is going to go through the roof. I think it's really going to impact a lot of people in that way. So, yeah.
This is what's happening with me, Lolly. When I'm calm. And then when I get into a worry cycle, I start to worry about everything. And I'm like at this tipping point where I can kind of feel myself right before the worry spiral. So I thought I would talk about it today. And I think it's because I want to make a whole bunch of plans, but really I shouldn't. Really, I should just do what you have to do, have a flight, have a place to stay, and the rest will just be fine.
Sure.
And if it's not, I'll call someone and say, hey, come get me. And Aaron will be like, cool, where are you? And I'll be like, Philly? And he'll be like, today my child is getting married. I cannot come get you.
That's right. All right. You ready to move on?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Let's see. My topic today. When's the last time you went on an adventure?
What kind of an adventure, Mayor? What kind?
So I will tell you my story, but I do have this thing in me that let me start here. I am the kind of person that forever has valued experiences above many, many things. Like the idea of if you can experience something that is, impossible to experience unless you're in this one place. So like if I go somewhere, I'm like, okay, what are the experiences here that I can have that I can't have at home? You know, whether it be a restaurant that's only here or whatever the case may be. And so sometimes to do those things become adventures, you know, moments in time where you're like, okay, we're going to do this thing because it's an experience. Let's go on this adventure. And my wife and I had that when we were in LA. We went to the Griffith Observatory, and I knew a lot of the scenes from La La Land were shot in that area up there by Griffith. And so I did some research on the place where they shot that beautiful "What a Waste of a Lovely Night" scene, where they're kind of on this road, you know, turn, and the beautiful city is behind them at sunset or whatever. And speaking of plans, we planned to, you know, go see that and to try to be there around sunset, you know, those kind of things while we were up at Griffith. So we went on this adventure because it was a 2.5 mile hike through the mountains up to there and then 2.5 back. So like 5 miles of hiking total. And it was very, very hilly, especially the way there was mostly uphill, you know, fairly decently. And lots of turns, lots of things. I have lots of stories from this trip. One of the reasons I love adventures is because of the, you know, the stories that it brings. You know, ideas of how nervous I get when people are walking too close to the edge of a precipice. I get really triggered. And we're walking back down. I'm sorry, I have to go here because it is stuck in my brain. This guy is riding his bike up this path right next to the edge, riding his bicycle next to the edge. He's not even on his feet. He's on 2 wheels with this much surface area touching the ground. It could tip at any moment. I have never been so triggered in my life. Like, he is going to die. We're going to watch a person die. And I literally had to turn my head until he was I could not have him in my field of vision and just not feel panic, which is not normal for me. Like, you know, I don't usually get that kind of triggered about stuff. But anyhow, that's the beauty of an adventure. And it really was. We made the trip. It's, you know, most of it was on a path that was, you know, people knew about. But then that last part was, you know, more of kind of on our own. You know, and it's getting towards sunset, and I'm reading about how, you know, you may not want to be hiking out in the hills after sunset. You know, we really do have mountain lions up here, like, you know, that kind of stuff. So then we were like, you know what? We were like, you know what? Let's not be there at sunset. Let's start walking back so we can be back by sunset. And so, yeah, we kind of adjusted our plans. But it was beautiful, and it was wonderful. And we got to that corner, and we took a picture, and it was, you know, it was really cool. So it got me thinking about, like, when have you decided, like, we're going to take this adventure, I'm going to take this adventure, and how did that go for you? So, yeah, anyhow, that's where that comes from.
Oof. Professor Lycan wants to know, talking about emotional adventures, I think any adventure goes.
Yes, absolutely.
Our questions are kind of meant to be conversational jump off points. So.
I would say the intent, yes, conversational jump off points, talk about whatever you want. The intent is you set out to do this adventure. Like, this is an adventure you set out for. You know, like, I'm putting on my adventure shoes and I'm doing this thing.
Man, it's been a long time for me. As previously stated, I am a homebody video game playing, I should weigh 700 pounds person, because I just don't like, you know, going out and doing things. I just didn't come from a adventuring, like, upbringing. We chilled and watched TV, went, you know, out to eat at restaurants, and kind of, we were homebodies. So my sense of adventure isn't something that, like, it's just not something that I've really ever had. So it's been a while. But one that was probably really outside of my comfort zone, that happened in the last, like, I think it was probably 5 years ago. Maybe it was right before I had Iris, I think. I decided to go on a canoeing camping trip with my friends, and my little planning brain kicked in. Thank you, planning brain. And all I needed to know is, am I going to be paired with someone who can keep me alive? Because I either need to know how to keep myself alive and prepare for this trip, or I need to know that someone else is I can pay attention to what they're doing and survive this trip, because I can push my body and we can go hiking and stuff like that. And yeah, my legs will be sore. I'm not too worried about just putting on good shoes and walking. I do know how to swim, but I've never canoed before. Nor have I gone and set up a tent or anything like that in a long time. So yes, I can do it, but it'll be a very long, tedious version that might not be as efficient as someone else. But thankfully I was going with someone who goes canoeing all the time. And it was so much fun. It was all women. And I will never forget, I didn't realize how many women would be there, but it was I think it was nearly 10 women. And I will never forget the visual. So we're kind of putting the canoes down into the water. And here comes this woman, probably 55 years old. She had leather skin. This woman had been in the sun her entire life. And she just had the color of leather skin. And she is hauling on her shoulder her own canoe, like a goddess of water. And I was just wow. If you go into, if you go to Africa and you're in the safari and you see an elephant in the wild, or a wild, you're oh, that's a cheetah. Whoa, you're real. You're taking pictures. I'm taking mental pictures of these goddess women who know how to be in the sun and not die. Listen, it took me 20 minutes to apply sunscreen enough to go onto the water, because I am so pale. I knew I was going to be in the water all day long. I've never, ever been on the water all day long without a break. So I had a big sun hat on. I made sure to wear appropriate gear, where I had this skirt that was, it was this really flowy bohemian skirt that it was 2-ply essentially. I could literally lift up half of it and put it over my shoulders if I had to. So I came prepared, but it took me 20 minutes just to put on the first layer of 100 proof sunscreen. And I know that 100 proof sunscreen is not any better than, what is it, Aaron? There's actually you did research for me one time.
Yeah, there's a limit to
a limit to it.
What real protection it does. But yeah.
But I'm over there and they're all watching me like I was the one. They're like, wow, you are really thorough. I'm like, I will not be burned. I cannot get a burn. And that was it was really, really fun. And it was totally out of my element. We stopped. So we got in the river. We were on a river. It wasn't even a creek. We were on a river. And I had to, my favorite part of this adventure, well, there's two. There's actually three really fun things that happened. A quick mention is the food. Wow, could these women cook? They started opening up their containers, and it was just we had the most amazing meal. Campsite, cooking out. It was so delicious. Another one's about a raccoon. It's a longer story. I'll save it for later, or you can ask me in the you questions.
But these are adventures. They have so many stories. I
oh my
love
gosh,
adventures. Yeah.
It was so fun. But the one thing that was truly terrifying, we get on the water, we stop at this bank. The bank is within the first 3 minutes of being on the water. And someone thinks to say, does Danae know how to survive if she falls in the water? And I'm like, don't you swim? And they're like, oh, honey, the current will take you under. Let's talk about survival in the river. And I was like, we're already on the river. So that was the scariest part, is knowing that I technically was in danger,
Sure.
But the coolest part was turning around, and my canoe partner, Christy, she's like, I got you. And I'm like, all right. She said, you just sit there and look pretty. I got this. And she just canoed the whole time. And I just was at the front of this little ship, just I had my little paddle.
Cleopatra.
And yeah. I was doing stuff, and she's like, okay, experiment with making me turn this way. And so I'm like, okay. Wow! So it was a lot of fun. And I would definitely, I would do it again in a heartbeat, because the women that I was with were so knowledgeable and powerful that I didn't have to think too much. Would I take my family on this kind of, no, because none of us know how to survive that experience, and I would be so stressful. So it depends on the adventure.
Nice.
Yeah.
Some good stories coming in. Elizabeth says, I once spent a day and a half in a completely new city alone. I was originally supposed to go with a couple of friends, but that fell through, so I ended up going alone and having the time of my life.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Fun.
I wonder how I would do. I used to wonder how I would do if I went to the movie theater by myself, and now I'm like, that's cool. It's awesome. Just
Yeah. I do that all the time.
You do.
Nick says 5 years ago we decided to save money on flying and drove from Pennsylvania to Florida for our Disney World vacay. It was the girls' first time and it took about 15 hours, but it was definitely an adventure and was exciting. The drive home sucked though.
Oh no.
Yes, long drives are an adventure. Some of my favorite adventures from childhood were we did a West Coast drive trip where we drove all the way to California from Ohio.
Yeesh.
And like we went up like north on the way there and then south on the way back. So we just hit a bunch of like, Grand Canyon, Painted Desert, Mount.
That's cool.
Not Mount Everest.
Mount Everest.
What's the place? What's the place with the
Yellowstone.
presidents? Why can't I think of the place with the presidents?
Mount Rushmore.
Thank you, Mount Rushmore. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we did a lot of that fun stuff. But man, yeah, I remember driving through Death Valley. When it's 120 degrees, and my parents are just like, please let our car make it through. So yeah.
This one's my wife and I went whitewater rafting, says Jagged, in college. They went whitewater rafting in college, and also those are the 2 times we planned an adventure. Ooh.
Yeah.
Nope. I like slow moving water personally. This is interesting. Lucas says my last adventure was to find Amazon River dolphins.
Awesome.
Who are you? But they are in distant regions, close to indigenous villages, about 2 or 3 hours upriver.
Yeah.
Okay. Most exotic answer ever. It's pretty incredible.
You talk about adventures I'm scared of. Amazon adventures I'm scared of. There's a lot of wildlife in that river.
I feel like one big mosquito and I would just be sucked dry of all life and I would just shrivel up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Tyler says, does buying a house that needs to be gutted and completely done during the pandemic count? Yes. Mm-hmm. I think you can view anything as an adventure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're setting out to do something. You know there's going to be twists and turns, and there are going to be stories. Yeah.
This is interesting. Tyler adds, also, my wife and I love adventure, but our son does not. That's interesting. So how do you all decide to do things together? I do wonder about this for Iris too. Like what kind of adventures she'll want to go on. She's really like trying new things is interesting for her. She's oftentimes like, no, I just want to chill. And because we're chill people too, I fully expect she's going to be a video game playing chill child. Maybe she'll do sports because she's got a really good arm. Justin plays, ball with her and she's got a really good throwing arm. So maybe she'll do like something sporty. And that might be as adventurous as she gets. Who knows? We'll see.
Yeah.
I do need, a part of me is like, try to do some adventure so she feels what it's like to try new things and all that stuff. So, Real says, when I bought my first moped, I had never driven before, and the person I bought it from lived over an hour away. This is what your adventure was?
Well, the adventure is driving that moped back when you've never driven a moped before.
That just brought back some serious memories of the first time that I drove a stick shift. Mm-hmm. And I think it was my parents were like, let's go to Branson, which has really steep hills in back-to-back traffic. I have never been that scared in my life. I was like, for sure going to get into an accident that day. Mm-hmm. Lucas adds, I live in the middle of the Amazon rainforest, by the way. Every day is a different adventure. Holy crap, Lucas.
Yeah, living in the middle of the rainforest.
That's pretty freaking amazing.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I have a lot of questions. Do you see monkeys regularly, or is that just something that's just silly to assume about the Amazon rainforest?
Yeah. Do you have to be like a snake spider, spotter? Like, do you have to know the different kinds of, wildlife that can kill you and are safe? Like,
yeah. Do you have to sleep with a net over your bed? Guys, just keep the questions coming for Lucas. Come on, let's do this.
This is our adventure today.
Do you have to be careful about what you eat? You can't leave food out, right? Because you have to, won't animals come and just like snag you away? I just watched Dora the Explorer and the Gold City of something, and I have a lot of questions about rainforest in general.
We are substituting the you questions for Lou questions today.
Lolly says, biggest adventure, moved halfway across the world and set up in a new country. That's definitely a big adventure.
You know, when
100%.
I first read that, I thought she said moved halfway across the world and set up a new country, and I was like, "What? You started a country? That's amazing! Where is Lollyland?
How do I join Lollyland?" Great questions, guys. You ready to go into the next part? Let's go into the you questions, shall we?
Let's do some you questions. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, guys. So here's part of the show where you guys can ask us whatever question you want, anything that comes to mind. Any question goes. We don't have to answer it, but we will answer as many as we can before we have to go to work.
While we are waiting, one last adventure. Argon says, me and wife planned a camping trip years ago, and I thought it'd be funny to rent Area 51 on the campsite. Oh. It had one little tree with no leaves, and it was like 1 billion degrees. We would wake up in the morning drenched with sweat and adventure to the lake to cool off. Camping is an adventure. Camping's always an adventure, even if it's just one night. That is for sure an adventure.
And Jagged says, learning about the rainforest in 3rd grade definitely scarred me, and Lucas is living my nightmare. Nice. I love how we all live in different places in different circumstances. It's one of my favorite parts about doing a show like this with Aaron every week and connecting with you guys every week and inviting whoever wants to come and hang out with us to come hang out with us. We all live in different areas and we all have different experiences, and part of what Aaron and I have been passionate about for years is finding fun ways to have meaningful conversations despite differences and different backgrounds, and even having completely different opinions and kind of finding the place to have different opinions but still respect each other. So we, once again, really, really appreciate you guys as a community and for being with us every Monday. I think when we started the show, we were like, let's do 5 days a week morning show. And we would still love to be able to figure out a way to make the time to do that. It's not impossible. But we say Mondays and some days to join us here on Twitch, but it's been just Mondays for a year now. We've been doing this for over a year then. So,
yes. Yeah.
So it's been a lot of fun to restart a way to connect with you and everyone. It means a lot to us for you guys to be here every Monday rather. Castrif asks, how many CinemaSins writers does it take to screw in a light bulb?
It takes one to screw in the light bulb, and then the other 5 to say, wait, if you do it this way, it might be a little funnier.
Yeah. Yes, it's a collaborative experience with a lot of different people. Someone will say, do we have a system for screwing the light bulb? And some people will say, I don't think we've ever really had a system for screwing the light bulb. We probably don't need one. And then someone says, yeah, we probably do. Everyone has different opinions.
And then Jeremy just says, wait, that's too many light bulbs. we don't need that many.
Yeah. Then someone's like, wait, do we even have lights? What are we even doing here? So it's a very fun world. Tyler asks, I am now 30. Congratulations. What is something mature and immature I should do before I turn 40? Depends on your version of what is mature and immature.
Yeah.
I think a mature thing to do would be check your 401k. We talked about this a little while ago. It sounds old and ancient, but now that you're 30, if you have like an established income, try to start putting some away now. So by the time you're 40, you have a little nest egg. If you don't have money kind of saved up in the bank, try to start putting money back for yourself for emergencies that you can get within reach in a savings account if you don't have that. And if you do have that, start to put it into like your retirement. That's probably one of like the more mature answers.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Really?
Understand your finances is the most probably
it's so
the most
boring,
important.
But it's so helpful.
It is the most important, I think, mature thing that you can do when you're young. As far as what you should do that's immature before you turn 40, public farting's always fun.
Oh my God.
I don't know. What would your answer be?
How do you even prepare for something like that? You're like, I'm gonna have some serious bean burrito today, and then I'm gonna go walk around.
When the mood hits, for consideration. Here's the things you need to consider if you're going to do a public fart. Here's the things you need to consider. Number 1, you want the biggest amount of awareness with the smallest amount of disrespect. So maybe you're sitting on a hard surface. Okay, all right, that's going to be loud. Like that's good. Like I want it to be loud.
Okay.
And there aren't people like right next to you. If somebody's right next to you, that's a little disrespectful. So, but if I don't know. Give me your answer, Danae. I was trying to think it's totally immature.
Whatever I had that I was potentially cooking up is launched into the atmosphere. We're going with public farting. This is the answer.
Well, there you go. That's the whole point. Whatever you have cooking up, launch it into the atmosphere. That is exactly what I'm talking about.
Well, here's what I feel like. So my grandfather did this once. Now he's also he was my grandfather. So, maybe like we give some grace for those that are elder with the tooting in the public. But we were in a bookstore that was packed with people. And so he let one rip on the adjacent aisle. I couldn't see him, but I knew it was him because he was the only one on that aisle. And this is just, it's a place where you can kind of appear to have privacy, but also disrupt an entire existence of people. So that could be your answer too, is just find a little shop, where you have a little bit of privacy and just let it go.
And be aware of your own body enough to know it's probably one you should keep to yourself because it's really offensive, and it's one that just you don't know that you can't tell.
Sometimes I guess sometimes it depends on what you've eaten. Okay, we're moving on. We are moving on. Everyone, please throw out some more you questions. Argan says, "You question, where do I get my own bitty bitty?" Argan is talking about a character that I've been playing over on the Infinite RP. She is a character who has an invisible friend, an invisible rabbit. Yeah. Which I could super drop some spoilers for you on all of that if you want me to sometime. But spoiler alert, I actually, my little guest appearance arc is concluded over there. So I wonder what he's going to do with that character moving forward. I have officially handed that character back to the DM to become an NPC. And, my little story arc has come to an end over there. I had a lot of fun doing it. It's really fun to help bring someone's character to life. And it's an interesting thing to be asked to do by someone who's creating a story, to say, hey, I have an idea. I want you to come in and play this person or play someone. Can you help me create the character and bring them to life and then walk away? So there was this element of where I wasn't as invested as I usually get when I'm in a character, because I knew that I was going to be stepping out of the character and kind of handing it back to the creator. So that was a really interesting experience as a creative person who creates stories and characters all the time. So
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. While we're waiting for another you question, I just thought of another story from the Griffith hike. We got back and we're all the way back to the Griffith Observatory, which is a very busy place. It's probably the top tourist destination in Los Angeles. And so there's just, hundreds of people walking by. I look over the fence, and on this steep incline, probably about 20 feet down, there are 3 beautiful deer just like having their dinner, or, probably breakfast, right? They kind of get up at dawn, or do they? I don't. Anyways, they're having a meal, just like 20 feet from the path. And there's hundreds of people walking by who have no idea that this is going on. And I'm just sitting there watching them, taking pictures of the deer or whatever. And there's this part of me that is like, I want to tell everybody, like everybody that's walking by, I want to go, there's deer here. Like, look, there's this cool nature thing happening right here and you're totally missing it. And then there's a part of me that's like, no, like just enjoy it for what it is. Yeah, just enjoy it for yourself or whatever. And it just got me thinking about like those times in life where you feel aware of something that nobody else seems like they're aware of. And you feel like you have this special moment to yourself and you wish you could invite other people to it, but it would just kind of be weird. And so you just kind of have this moment. I don't know. It was kind of one of those beautiful, deeper kind of things that happen sometimes. But there was one couple that noticed that I was looking and asked, what are you looking at? I pointed out the deer, and they were very happy, and they took pictures, and they stayed there for a little bit and watched. And
man, because my character's rabbit was invisible, I thought you were going to say, so they look over and there were no deer.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yes. Yeah.
Dude.
Like, what are you talking about?
Dude, what meds are you on?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Slab says, does the rabbit look like the one behind Danae right now? Dang it, Slab. Such a butt.
No, that's the that is a reference to the creepy rabbit from Donnie Darko.
My imagination is just too much because I can see it in the imagination creeping in my door right now. Let's do something else. Let's talk about something else.
Yeah.
Hey guys, we'll be back next Monday. While you guys are thinking about any possible last questions here, I'm going to hop over and see who is on Twitch right now. So I know where I'm going to send my beloved friends on Twitch. By the way, thanks to Ashy and Taljam and Phantom and Asher, Boy Soprano, and Hey Chalupa, who have all followed. I appreciate you guys so much. And for the 22 of you watching right now over on my Twitch, I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me on Mondays. I will be streaming as either Babs or Sadie tomorrow, as usual. So, Aaron, there's one that you can go look at real quick while I find a place to send the viewers.
You questions?
Mm-hmm. There's one that just popped up.
Yeah, there's a couple. Lucas says, what are your guys' opinions on NFTs? Non-fungible tokens is what Lucas is talking about. It's weird for me to think about the idea of digital uniqueness being a commodity. That is something I'm trying to wrap my head around. Here's the thing about worth and value. It is exactly what anybody is willing to pay for it. So if somebody finds that valuable and pays $10,000 for a non-fungible token because they believe that unique picture or whatever that is now technically digitally theirs and theirs alone and they own it is worth $10,000, guess how much it's worth? $10,000. That's just how it works. So, I have no judgment on that. I think it's an interesting new commerce, and part of it seems a little sketchy to me because it feels like people are taking advantage of other people. But, listen, sell what you sell to who you sell it to for whatever they'll buy it for. At the end of the day, you can't judge it too much. But yeah, those are kind of my general thoughts on that. Jagged says, can Aaron record himself playing Gangnam Style on BeatStar to prove a robot didn't beat it for him?
Oh my gosh, guys, I have seen Aaron play BeatStar, which, by the way, we have a whole community of people playing a video game together right now, which is super, super fun. For those of you that are on Twitch that haven't done the crossover to CinemaSins yet, we have a CinemaSins Discord. I think you can search for the link on Reddit, and we have an open invite. Here's the bunny trail to go to. CinemaSins Discord, and then go to the Behind the Sins channel, which is a podcast that Aaron and I are on for CinemaSins. Well, I will be returning soon. And there is a thread of conversation there about this game called BeatStar. And it's a game where you are hitting your thumbs in rhythm to the music, essentially. And it's just blown up. Everyone's talking about it and sharing our stuff. And it's kind of fun. It's a lot of fun. But I have watched Aaron play before. It is insane to me, the skill level. But I did figure out how to record my screen, and I recorded myself doing one, and I actually did pretty good for the first time.
Well, do you remember the first one I showed you that I screen recorded was nice. Gangnam Style.
Yeah, it was insane.
Yeah.
This shows like your little thumbs, but
probably I can have that.
I can probably record it if you guys want to see. It's legitimately a lot.
Well, right now I'm trying to do Sexy and I Know It, and it is so crazy. But yeah, some of those extreme levels, those are the only levels I don't have medallions on, are the extremes. I have 4 extreme songs, and I have 5 stars on all of them,
my
but
God.
No medallions.
Insane. So, yeah. What's your favorite winter food? Asks Lolly. Winter comfort food. We've had horrible weather, and I'm on a bit of a soup kick right now. I love ham and beans. I found a recipe for the pressure cooker that does like a ham and beans recipe. And it is so delicious. It's one of my favorites now. It didn't used to be. I don't know that I really had one until I found that recipe, and every single time it gets cold, I start to crave a good ham and beans.
Chili, probably. Chili with some Fritos and cheese. Yeah, that's a big one for me during the winter.
Yeah, Ian and Aaron, if you guys are going to join our list, by the way, if you go to the Discord and you find that thread on the Behind the Scenes channel, like it is just, you immediately friend like 10 people, and it's just Aaron and Ian just battling at the top. And then somebody will like kind of sneak up a little bit, and then they come and they smash them back down. It's pretty crazy.
It's fun stuff. It's fun stuff. I think I have 25 friends on BeatStar now.
It's fun. It's fun. It's stressful, but it's fun. I have had to just, I'm never going to be number one ever. I don't understand how I'm not already doing great. Which, by the way, 5 stars on a lot of them is great, Danae. It just means you're not the best out there. Your little thumbs aren't doing the thing they're supposed to do. But
I think it's interesting. You think that little thumbs are. I would think my giant thumbs would be harder to be accurate with. But...
It's fully an excuse, Aaron. Fully an excuse. Okay.
All right.
Yeah,
no. I was trying to figure it out. Yeah.
I'm just pretending. Multimaker asks, "What is your cereal of choice?" Man, I love Basic 4. Basic 4 is one of my favorites.
Interestingly enough, I am a huge cereal fan. I haven't had a bowl of cereal in 6 weeks because I've been doing this cachava thing that I do or whatever, and it's just like it, for whatever reason, just meets all those needs. But when I was eating cereal a lot, my go-to was definitely Raisin Nut Bran. Love me some Raisin Nut Bran. So, yeah.
Ian's is Ian GW on, but there's a thread on the Behind the Scenes. If you click on that channel, there's a pinned thread that you can find, and it has everybody's username at the top. So you can literally just go through and add a whole bunch of people. So.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for joining us today. Did you have a raid you wanted to
Yes.
lead?
So today we're going to go watch a DJ. I really love this guy. It's one of my favorites because, and I'm going to go ahead and start the raid there so you guys can all pile in. I love having music on in the background. It keeps the day flowing. This is Selecta 720. I really like this guy's vibe. There's several DJs that I follow on Twitch that are live during various parts of the day. I've even started following people that do live music, guitars and things like this. And I'm listening to those artists to continue to like just give you guys a variety of people to go and watch. I will let you know Sinat Bush is live, continuing to create his incredible art today. Brush for Hire is also live. So is Timber Anew. But if you guys want to jump on the raid and say hi and listen to some good music this morning and then go say hi to other people, you're welcome to. And we'll see you back here tomorrow on my channel for some role play tomorrow night. But that's it for me.
All right. We'll see you on the next Monday or someday. Thank you guys. We love you. We'll catch you next time.
Bye.